The topic that will be addressed today is new relationships being formed. I feel like after these past 2 years of being in COVID, I feel like it's really hard to form new relationships, whether that's with a significant other, friends, um, family, or most importantly, God. I feel like we've questioned a lot of things and we've hesitated, and lack of communication, lack of vulnerability or being open, I guess, with one another. So on that, I feel like beginning a, a new relationship requires different things, like to focus on the present and not fully on the past. I would say that it's natural to bring your fears and negative experiences to a new relationship, whether that be like a bad experience that you've had, for instance, and then you blame it on God. I know a lot of people tend to do that, or a family member, or just have anger, when in reality, like, it's time for us to accept and move on and somehow learn a lesson from that experience. So I would say, after all, it's a survival mechanism to prevent getting yourself broken in a sense. But if we don't somehow get over the past in some way or learn something and accept it, then we're just gonna be held back by things that we're not truly gonna feel like we can move on from, or we're gonna be stuck in one place, which is something that I don't think anybody wants to feel stuck. I think that we should always talk about our future early on. And I think this is because, well, you shouldn't focus on the past and you should focus on the future, whether it's, hey, I'm gonna go confess, hey, I'm gonna go to a park, or I'm gonna go hang out, or I'm gonna start praying in the morning. Just something to keep you up and wanting to do something, set goals, put yourself in an enthusiastic mood about it, like to make you feel like you're going to look forward. And I think that's very important in a new relationship being formed. Another thing, like I mentioned previously, was being vulnerable. I feel like a lot of people struggle with being vulnerable. And for me, for example, I am very hesitant to open myself up fully to people. And it's a struggle when I was going through that, because I felt like I was being held back. Like I couldn't trust anybody, when in reality I could have literally turned to God. I could have turned to a friend or an advisor who would be there for me and feel like I had somebody. And being able to be vulnerable and truly open with yourself is, I think, something very beautiful and experience that we should all have at one point. And I think meeting with friends is something very nice. Like, hey, do you want to go to church with me? Hey, do you want to go to a church event? Or even putting something positive out there, an event, to make something fun. Like, I think there's different activities that you can do. I like to play Monopoly. Let's include that into it. Like, just simple things that we can include friends with and to bond with one another and create new friendships. I think when I was younger, I remember I was very shy. I wouldn't talk. I wouldn't be able to look at people straight in the face. And I was in this little group for church. I remember because my grandma used to go a lot. So we went to that. And I was so scared of talking to people that I've never met in my life. And seeing that some other people have some similar experiences to you, or even like advice, and I felt welcomed. Meeting other people, each other's friends. Like I knew that my cousin had other friends because we went to different schools. So it was very nice meeting her friends and feeling welcomed in that environment. Like we used to sing, we used to play and do like cute little Bible verses or skits. I feel like those really push me towards to wanting to go to these events, because I'm meeting people, I'm being able to feel comfortable and easy flowing, that I was looking forward to. I used to tell my grandma, like, let's go. Like, I'm ready. Like, I used to wait for her at the entrance of my door. Like, I'm ready. Like, I think that's really beautiful, being able to like create new friendships. Honestly, also a big thing is being yourself. I think a lot of the time we like to hold back or portray a different side of ourselves to people, when in reality we should just be our authentic and true self, because that builds a foundation to being able to communicate with people properly and being able to show what you truly have to offer. Like, I personally, a lot of people, I love to listen to people, and I think that's amazing to hear other people's story. Like, I love to listen, and I think a lot of people like to be heard, and that's a difference between things. Like, a lot of people told me, "Hey, man, you're such a great listener." Like, I appreciated getting that. Sometimes being able, instead of like, "Oh, I don't care," "Hey, oh, I'm not gonna go up to that person." No, I sometimes listen to other people's stories I've never met, just because they want to be heard, and they honestly, just being able to be my true self around them makes me feel like, hey, they're not gonna judge me. Or if I do, okay, I'm learning this lesson, what I should do next time, or how I can make this in a more better way. So I think that's very important. I feel like relationships aren't 50-50. And an example I would like to use is like student council. There's like 13 people in student council that I'm with. And I had to take over for president. And I feel like it was really hard at first to transition into something like that. For instance, I think a relationship or like any being formed should be 50-50. Like, I honestly feel like everybody needs to put their all into something as well as you, because if you're just giving half and they're giving half, it's like you're not giving your full potential. I would say, like, I really was learning of how to work with other people and turn to other people. Like God, for instance, I'm Catholic, so I turn to God very heavily. Sometimes, like, I'll just sit down and be like, I'm having a bad day. Like, why is this happening? Like, but in the same time, like, I can't be going to God when it's only my bad moments. I need to go with Him when it's my good moments as well. That's another thing that I realized when I was thinking about relationships being 100-100. Yeah. I think also talking about student council, that I've gained a lot of wisdom. Honestly, like, I was so stressed. Like, my experiences in student council was stressful. Like, in the beginning, when I was in my elections, I think it was hard because at first I didn't even, but I wasn't even thinking of going up for even a position in student council, because I'm very shy. I don't normally do those things, but I had like a gut feeling that I really wanted to jump out of my comfort zone, and I like being around people, and if I can somehow be a leader or make a change in something or somehow push somebody, like, I just wanted to do that really badly. Whether I lost or won, I really just wanted to put my all into it. And I would say that being in student council, it's a way more bigger thing than just, hey, scheduling events and whatever. No, you have to understand the responsibility you have, what you need to do. Like, I need to make sure I'm communicating properly with my family, so they know I travel back and forth. So I need to make sure they know that I'm gonna stay the weekend to help, or even communicating to make sure that every one of my student council members, I went up for vice president specifically, so I had to make sure that every one of my other members knew what was going on. And I had to really be a mediator or a bridge for my advisor and student council to make sure everything went well. I think it was a much bigger thing. And like, honestly, I was getting some spiritual guidance. Like, I was praying to God sometimes. I was like, I hope this goes good. Like, I need this to go good. Like, I think I was really guided by that. because like a lot of our events have to incorporate, a lot of our events do incorporate some part of like, spiritual, like we have to hold a mass, we have to participate in mass, or just and include a fun activity sometimes, including that like a Kahoot, or like hey, just like a fun activity, like being with one another and telling each other experiences. And even that, like I feel like it was very, I didn't expect to gain a family without being able to have my spiritual guidance, being able to communicate, being vulnerable, and just I gained a family I didn't expect to get, and it was very beautiful. Like I had to go through a lot of hardships because our president had left, so I had to take on that, and it was really hard. Communication is the foundation of any relationship you get, whether it's with God, family, friends, anyone, honestly. Um, I feel like this, in the beginning of the COVID, I was really struggling with my faith, for instance, because my grandfather had died in the beginning, and I was very closed off. I was mad at everything. I was mad at God. I was mad at my own faith and hope. Like, I was just angry. And I think that I had lost my faith. Like, honestly, I stopped going to church. I just was very distant with everybody. And having to form that new relationship back was hard. Because, like, I think later on I started to feel empty. And that was because, I didn't have God in the center of my life, or I didn't have anything to fulfill me in that sense. And it was hard. So I feel like building that bridge back again was extremely hard. Like being able to be like, okay, I have to look at things different, and acceptance is a lot, and having to communicate. Because I'm not good at communicating. I wasn't good at communicating. I think I'm way better now. I was bad at communicating. I didn't know how to express my feelings properly. And having to face that was a big obstacle for me. And like I slowly like was discovering my love for God again, and my faith, and believing in like I would talk to my grandma and my grandfather, and they're very wise, I would say. And like they're like, Mia, you have to, it's a part of life, and we have to accept that we're not gonna be here all the time. And being able to accept and learn from it is something extremely beautiful. Honestly, I feel energized, and I realized honestly what I was missing in my life, or I found a new approach to doing or looking at my faith. So I think being able to form that new relationship, whether it's forming it again, whether it's forming a new one, being able to walk away with a new appreciation for something is beautiful and worth taking the risk of forming a new relationship, whether it be with a family, a friend, with God, just anyone. Like forming a new relationship can end bad or good, but you always will take away something from it. You gain an experience, you learn a lesson, you build a foundation for something in the future that you can take with you forever. And I think that's such a beautiful thing, to be able to form new relationships. Thank you.